Hello and welcome to another update video about Apecoin. I had so many requests for Apecoin. It's no chart that I find particularly attractive. I just wanted to cover it again because honestly I had so many requests in the last few days. I don't understand why. Yes, we see a few green candles, but nothing out of the ordinary, I would say. And I made my last video basically 5 weeks ago. And I actually forgot I made it. I looked at the chart today and I figured out, oh, I actually did a count. So it's actually not too much more work for me just to repeat what we said back then because it's basically playing out. What I said back then is that unfortunately we topped last year in 3 waves. And this is not a good sign for any count. I mean, it's always a question of reliability, right? I mean, this is clearly a 3-wave move, so ABC. Since then, we have been in a lifetime downtrend, basically. So it's nothing super exciting. I mean, it's not the most bad, it's not the worst chart I've seen. There are charts like, they've never spiked in their life, which is even worse. But this one has only spiked in 3 waves. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we could interpret something more bullish into this. But the question is always the question of reliability. The problem is that we've obviously dropped below this. It's a question where you look at the start price. I mean, we haven't really dropped below the beginning of this strange candle, but these startup candles are always super unreliable. So if you talk about a reliable Elliott Wave analysis, it's really hard to deliver that with this chart. So we can try to see what we can do instead by taking the Elliott Waves as some help and guidance. But this was a clearly impulsive move down. So I'm looking at this as a wave 1 down, which bottomed in June. Like many other cryptos, it made another low. That was here in... Did it make another low? Slightly, in November. And I'm looking at this as a wave 1 down. We might now do this wave 2 up that I talked about in the last video. I think we might have just started in my last video. So if you watched the last video, you should be aware that we were expecting here a C wave to the upside, which seems to be playing out now for this wave 2. The question is only, what pattern is it going to be? I mean, this is for me a 3-wave move to the upside in an A wave and a 3-wave move down in a B wave. So we might now be looking at this C wave, and because it must be a flat pattern because the A wave is 3 waves. So I'm looking here at a flat pattern possibly. Again, it's not the most reliable chart. We have the choice now between a running flat and an expanded flat. Now the running flat is going to end below the beginning of the B wave. Yeah, so it should end below the resistance area somewhere, or in the resistance area. This is located between 730 to 780. That's going to be big resistance here. The running flat is actually the less frequent pattern. So in terms of probabilities, we would primarily expect a C wave to push higher. Okay, so if we just talk about probabilities, but if we look at, so this is obviously resistance in terms of wave A high, but we can also look at it in terms of Fibonacci retracements. I mean, if we look at the retracements now, we certainly are entering now another area of resistance, which is 50% retracement at 518, 61.8 retracement at 576, and here the 78.6 retracement at 660. My view is if we get above those, especially if we get above the 78.6 retracement, we should also have a good chance to break above the red resistance and make a higher high in the C wave. If we make a higher high in the C wave, what levels are realistic? For that, we take the Fibonacci extensions and we take the length of the A wave, we go to the low of the B wave, and we're looking at the 1.618 extension. It's $10.12. So I wouldn't be surprised to get there. That would be a C wave, but first of all, we've got a lot of resistance to work through, and it's not a high confidence chart. So this chart, the count, points towards further downside. Yeah, quite a lot of downside. Yeah, so at the moment, it's not a chart that I would personally, I mean, if you're interested in the project, it's up to you what you do, right? But from a chart point of view, the trend is clearly still down. It might be turning around now, but it is high risk that this is only a corrective move to the upside. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, look at the ABC, okay, but a wave 2 in itself. Yeah, let's say the bull run starts, and let's say we are in a wave 2 and we are in a bull run. The wave 2 can go much higher than if we just count the lower level waves here. Yeah, I mean, we're talking here only for the wave 2, not looking at the lower level wave, but just for the wave 2. you know, you can always get a C wave which is very strong and might be overshooting, but a wave 2 can go, you know, and 78.6% retrace, $22.27. Until we get above that level, due to this chart structure, I would not want to commit to a scenario where we're saying that we are rallying in an impulse. Until then, I will see this as corrective, which means it can still go up, but it's just a matter of, you know, do you see it as more likely to rally than, for example, a coin which is more clearly in an impulsive wave structure? So I have my doubts about Ape here. Not saying it couldn't go up. In fact, I do expect it to go up. The question is only how high does it go, and it's just not that reliable. Okay. With Elliott Wave, we're looking for reliable charts, and this one, the problem is this cannot be a bullish structure because we have made a new low. So the best chance, if we say, okay, for whatever reason, maybe it even bottomed here, maybe the bear market low was in here back in November, then it would now need to put in, it would need to prove that, yeah, and we would need to see a 5-wave move up, which shouldn't be a surprise because that would be the C wave anyway. That's a 5-wave move. It needs to prove that by retracing afterwards in 3 waves, yeah, not coming down in 5 in this 3rd wave and make a lower low. It needs to hold a certain support level. So I mean, we can track that, and I can try to guide you in terms of, but I won't do the micro counting here because, you know, it takes a lot of time and effort, and it's just not the best chart. So I try to focus on charts that are really good in my analysis and that show a lot of promise. But obviously there seem to be a lot of people watching these videos who like Apecoin as well. So I'm gonna follow it, and if I see a possible trade setup, at the moment I don't really, yeah, because we're running into resistance here. Need to see how this is going on. And we've also rallied from the low. So I mean, if you watched the last video, can't remember where we were, but we talked here about a possible breakout of the channel, I'm sure, because we looked at this in the C wave. So since the last video, I haven't touched the count at all. So I think this has sort of worked out, but I still would expect it to go higher in this scenario, possibly even here to the 730 level. That's where we need to see, right, where we're heading next, because it could bounce off there and go down straight away. That would be obviously the very, very bearish count. More bullish would be at least if we move higher in a higher wave 2. So here we need to take it step by step, but the overall chart structure is down. I can't even give you a bullish case. I mean, the bullish case would only be that we're now developing an impulse from here, but we are expecting an impulse anyway in a C wave. The bullish case would then be that in the retracement we're coming down in 3 waves, not in 5. And we won't know that until, because of the context. Yeah, the context of this chart isn't great. So I hope you liked the video update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.